Greetings, contestants, and welcome to the wonderful, much-awaited game, Slay the Dragon, or as we may know it in the hood, Dragon Slayers. You guys ready for this? Because I am. First of all, we're gonna start with some rules, okay? So pay attention. I hope I'm not really losing too much of my frame rate, but we'll see how it goes. Just bear with me. We have like very little budget in here. All right. Okay, here's how the point system works. So if you get an answer right, you get 3 points. If you get an answer wrong, you get 0 points. And whenever it's time for debating, you can choose to give your opponent between 1 and 5 points. And that's how whoever gets the most points is going to win the night. Now remember, you get to appear in this game up to 3 times in the whole season. So you want to accumulate as much points as you want in order if you want to win the meta game kind of thing, right? So here we go. Whoever wins the meta game, well, might be up for a whole year of PA or something along those lines if the person already has like a lifetime membership. But we'll figure that out as it times comes. Are you guys ready for this?
Yep.
Folks, I welcome you to Intro to Nietzsche, Part 1. Alright guys, Scott, you'll be player 1, and Joshua, you'll be player 2. And let's see who's up first. Alright, Joshua, it looks like you're up, buddy. What are you, which theme would you like to choose? Just give a second. Bear with me.
Which team would I like to choose? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, okay, so we got 5 different themes. So we got Hammer Philosophy, The Death of God, Slave Morality, Poet and Prophet, and the Will to Power. You get to choose out of one of these topics, and whatever you choose, that will be your multiple choice question, and then later you will have to defend one statement around this sort of topic, either for or against, when it's time to slay the dragon.
Let's go Hammer Philosophy.
Hammer Philosophy it is. All right, and your question, good sir, is: what is generally meant by the idea of philosophizing with a hammer? A. To break the foundational assumptions most people don't realize they have. B. To argue so ruthlessly that your opponent is destroyed. C. To fix the arguments of others by applying pressure. Or D. To use the willpower as a hammer to break people into agreeing with your philosophy.
Definitely A.
Ooh, let's see what this says. You got it! Good job, dude. You got 3 points now. So, okay, let's see.
Hey, I'm in
Josh,
the lead.
plus 3. You're in the lead, buddy. You gotta have to defend those points. So let's see what we can have here. All right. Seeing as though we don't have a third contestant, I guess it's your time, Scott, to pick a topic. What would you like to go for?
Let's do the Death of God.
The Death of God it is. And we got... What was Nietzsche trying to communicate the most through the aphorism, God is dead? A triumphant expression of having dispensed with what was holding us back. B. People no longer are concerned with the spiritual matters, but with material existence. C. The most foundational dream of the Western culture is vanishing because people are moving away from tradition. Or D. God used to exist only in our minds, and now that we can study things empirically, he is no longer necessary.
Let's go with B.
You're gonna go with B. People no longer are concerned with the spiritual matters, but with material existence? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, why not?
And the answer is... no! I can understand might be a little bit of an interpretational thing, but I'll tell you really what the answer was. The answer was C. The most foundational dream of the Western culture is vanishing because people are moving away from tradition. Basically, the idea of God in Nietzsche's world, yes, it was something to do with like a way in which the tradition of certain religions were oppressing or like structuring the way that people or telling people how they ought to live. But to a certain degree, tradition was also to be, um, you know, something that gave us a structure and that unified us all. So by us trying to dispense with that, then we no longer had anything to unite us together. And so this dream or this type of collective unconscious that kind of like pull like like united us with a thread is already kind of vanishing, and now everybody can get to have their own values, and then me and the dragon and then the king, we can all have different type of values, and then you know we can still think that we are right, but reality really is like you know modernity has not really like proven that that's the case. But if you would have chosen that, you would have gotten it right. So what do you guys think? Do you guys want to go for another round of multiple choice, or would you like to go down to a sparring contest? We'll leave it to Scott to decide.
Let's do the sparring.
Let's do the sparring immediately. Okay. It's gonna be a short one and fast one, folks. But this is all about strategy. So let's see how it goes. So, Joshua, you selected hammer philosophy. So the theme or the statement that you're going to have to defend is going to be: the consequences of Nietzsche's philosophizing with a hammer and the insights into phenomenology, philosophy, and psychology, most particularly the statement God is dead, make Nietzsche an antichrist, even though his insights are proving to be more Christian than not. Would you like to be for or against this statement?
Wow. So it's saying that Nietzsche is the Antichrist, even though his insights are proving to be more Christian than not.
At least one antichrist, like in the sense, maybe there's a little bit of a good clarification here. In a sense, anybody that goes against Christ, it's a type of antichrist. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like denying Christ.
I would like to not defend this. I would like to attack this statement.
You like to attack this statement, so you're going to go against this statement. Absolutely. Just 1 second. Let me just call in the dragon. All right. Here we go, folks. Are you ready for this? So, show me, Joshua, what you got. How are you going to defend this?
Well, I think that it's ultimately very Christian to have strong foundation on your beliefs, so attacking the foundation of beliefs feels ultimately Christian.
Interesting. So you think that, as a matter of fact, he's not quite of an antichrist, he's actually more Christian than many. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like, there's the parable of building your house on solid land as opposed to sand. Philosophizing with a hammer is just making sure you're not building your house on sand.
That's interesting. Well, how about this? But what did you say that actually his philosophy was actually trying to point towards dispensing with it entirely and creating our own overmensch? Actually trying to think of, humans, we it served us right to have religion, but now that we have like transcended that in modernity, now that we are able to study empirically the world, why would we want something to hold us down? And then that's why he's kind of saying like, well, we don't need that, you know, the actual superhuman will actually be able to, you know, understand morality for himself by expanding himself. Wouldn't you say that that was more like what he's trying to do?
Well, I would say that that was sort of maybe not the critical plus foundational part of his philosophy in that um, first of all you have to tear things down in order to have strength, and so there's going to be a point when you tear things down where there's a lot of uncertainty of where you are. The part about building your own morality would be more like an antichrist, but still that's not to the core of philosophizing with a hammer. It's maybe not the most fundamental concept of Nietzsche's.
But wouldn't you say that actually, if you were to dispense with the whole idea of having to give yourself for others and sacrificing yourself for others, and actually what you ought to do is actually to expand your own potentiality and actually find your own potentiality in the world by just being creative and like expand yourself as much as possible no matter what? Wouldn't that actually have more of a tint towards like, you know, rejecting God and going, you know, on, you know, putting like man on a pedestal?
Um, yeah,
All right.
that was a scary dragon. I thought I had that.
All right, folks. That was a pretty good sparing, but now it's time for the vote. Okay. Scott, what would you give him?
5 points. I could do 1 through
5
5, right?
points. 5 would be like a perfect score.
Yeah, man. Did great. That was difficult.
That was difficult. Absolutely. Okay. 5 points is 5 points. Let's see what the next pairing brings us. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make things a little bit more spicy as well. Joshua, what would you rate yourself in that debate?
I would rate like myself in the debate a 5, but my ability to defend the position that I was trying to defend, I would give myself lower, like a 3.
Okay, overall, would you say like maybe 4 then?
Yeah, 4.
Okay, we'll say 4. Perfect. Now, Scott, we have a little bit of a dilemma with you. You pick the death of God, which basically would be to defend exactly the same as go for or against exactly the same statement as Joshua. Or you could either choose that, or you could choose one of these other 3 categories. It's totally up to you. What would you like to do?
Let's do a new one. Is slave morality going to be new?
You want slave morality? Let's see what you got. What Nietzsche thought was slave morality is actually the morality of true kings. Would you like to go for or against this?
I don't remember I don't know what slave morality is from the top of my head.
Slave morality is basically the concept that Nietzsche thought that things like Christianity were not really a true morality because people were not discovering for themselves. They were actually being oppressed by the religion into telling them how to behave. And so people were doing it just out of like fear and resentment rather than actually learning what morality was actually, and you know, doing it because they chose to do it on their own volition.
So it's the idea that because people don't discover it independently, it's not true morality.
Yeah, and not only that, but also that the fact that it was coming from this dynamic between oppressor and oppressed, it would always lead towards resentment.
Does
So
he actually
whoever
use
was
that
like,
language? The oppressor and oppressed?
yeah, yeah, he thought that basically there was a strand of Christianity that felt like it was like a dynamic between oppressor and oppressed. So like that's why he regarded Christianity as a slave morality.
And in this context, true kings is just like a human who's a king.
In this sense, it's more saying like, well, actually, this statement is kind of saying like, actually, Nietzsche was wrong. It's more the morality of true kings, uh, in like the morality that you can see in Christianity, because it resembles more the morality of philosopher kings, as in like Plato's um, um, ideal of a ordered state or ordered soul.
Wow. I'm so unprepared for this. What Nietzsche
I know it
thought,
can be a little bit overwhelming, but you know,
yeah,
the
sure.
dragon.
What Nietzsche thought slave morality is actually the morality of true kings. And you said true kings has nothing to do with Christianity. It has to do with just normal people, right?
No, it has to do with like. So I'm trying to kind of like, okay, maybe I should have worded this differently. It actually has to do with like the morality, the true morality is kind of like what I'm trying to say it in a little bit more, I guess, romantic way. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of trying to say like Christianity is not really slave morality. It's actually the more absolute morality, the more truest morality, the morality that a true king would actually want to follow. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I will argue against the idea that he thought that that was the morality of true kings.
Well, like, yeah, well, he doesn't. Okay, so he doesn't think that is the morality of true kings, but the statement is saying is. I know it's
What
kind of
Nietzsche
confusing.
thought was slave morality is actually the morality of true kings. So he thinks that slave morality is, it's saying he thinks slave morality is the morality of true kings, right? Am I missing something?
Well, like, that statement doesn't come really much from Nietzsche. It comes more like from the Fool, basically. The Fool is kind of saying what Nietzsche understood as slave morality is instead the morality of true kings. But Nietzsche actually had this whole philosophy on a slave morality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, this is just way over my head. I'm not going to hit this at all.
Wait, I'll clarify though. It's when he's saying it's kind of. I think probably this is what the question is meaning to.
Yes,
make
I'm
the
sorry.
question,
I
but
probably
what
worded it very bad.
what it's basically saying is Christianity, is it slave morality or is it the morality of true kings?
Yeah,
Because
basically.
that's what Nietzsche thought was the slave morality was Christianity.
Yeah, so basically you like the statement that Christianity is a slave morality, or you go against that and you say, no, Christianity is actually a true morality, worthy of kings. You either go for slave morality or against slave morality.
I will try to go for slave morality.
So you
That would
think
be
so
for
basically just to clarify,
Christianity, right?
yeah, so you mean you say man, this gets so confusing. I'm so sorry. Okay. You mean to say like you want to defend Christianity, or you want to defend the statement that Christianity is a slave morality?
I want to defend that Christianity is not slave morality, that Nietzsche did not think that.
Okay. Okay.
Is that how I'm interpreting the question,
Oh, you're
right?
challenging. Yeah, you're challenging the premise of the question because the question assumed as a presupposition that Nietzsche actually thought Christianity was a slave morality.
Yeah, but you can challenge the premise of the question. That's totally fine.
Uh, uh, yeah, what would you? So you're saying I need to either choose slave morality is Christianity or slave morality is not Christianity. I will, if that's my option, then I will choose to argue that slave morality is not Christianity.
Okay, okay, okay. That's good. Okay, give me a second. I'll just call the dragon, and then we'll start this pairing.
I love the dragon.
Yeah, me too. It was
I
so
love
so
the dragon.
shocking to see it the first time.
Yeah, dude, this is way over my head.
All right, I'm back, guys. Right. So
Awesome.
let's see if we can get this now. So you're saying that Christianity is not slave morality? Is that what I'm trying to understand?
Yeah,
Well, how would you like, you know, reconcile the fact that, well, during the Middle Ages, there was a whole bunch of like, this weird stuff going on with the church and stuff like that, and they were trying to make people, like, get like a whole bunch of like, like, favors and stuff like that. Some people were even paying for things, and like they were like, like punishing themselves on like all of these things and weird things. And like, I don't think like a majority of people that were really understanding what they were like buying into. Would you say that is actually the morality of true kings?
I guess I would just say that that's just something humans can do in general, and it's not specifically attached to a religious value.
Interesting. So you think that slave morality can actually be across a whole bunch of different belief systems and things like that. It's not specifically of Christianity, and that in fact is more like a symptom of just humans misunderstanding. Is that what you're trying to say?
Maybe not a symptom of humans misunderstanding, but just a symptom of humans being reinforced in the
I
patterns that
see.
they're doing.
What about the fact that, people are always like, always too complacent and actually fast to get angry at other people that don't agree with their own perspective or point of view, and they just want to be, kind of like left alone? Wouldn't you say like, because of that, that's one of the reasons why Christianity has had so much success across the ages, because it just tells them exactly what to think, and it just kind of like simplifies it everything for everybody. It's just like, well, believe in this one thing, and you'll have eternal life. Wouldn't you say that that's kind of like a slavish in a way? Wouldn't you think that it's better to just like say like, oh, come on, I can make my own morality. I can just like, go ahead and you know um explore the world until I find what it actually is true, instead of like just being told what I have to believe.
Yes, you could tell that to people, but that doesn't make Christianity a slave morality because, as far as I understand this idea, that would mean that you're forcing people, and I don't understand exactly where the force is happening. So if you could help me understand the trigger of the force that Christianity is doing on people, like you said, maybe there's some transactions happening, but that happens regardless if you're Christian or not. So if you
Well,
can help me
I
understand the trigger.
Yeah, I think Nietzsche would say that, the biggest trigger is probably the fear that they would like burn in hell, basically, if they don't really follow what they're being told, instead of actually them being good for the sake of being good. They're just being good for the sake of not burning in hell.
Right, and that sounds like a pretty low resolution assessment, but maybe that was accurate of the time. I don't know. I didn't live during that time, so I can't really speak to that. I could speak to my time.
Very good, Scott. It was always nice to debate with you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Man, I really need to work through these transitions. I'm sorry for all the wait, guys. Okay, now, Joshua, what would you rate Scott's debate or sparring?
Yeah, I would certainly give it a 5. I'd give it a 5 because it felt like every single question was answered with a rebuttal that did disassemble the premise the dragon was putting forward.
Yeah, very good, very good. And what about you, Scott? What would you rate yourself?
Uh, I let's go 4.
Okay, we got a 4, and I think that this is it, folks. We can have one last thing. I'm going to throw another extra thing just because this is a little bit of an odd um, contest today. It's unforeseen circumstances, and we didn't have one participant. But what we'll do is we're gonna give you guys the chance to get a little bit more points. If you guys want, what we'll do is we'll do a coin cards, depending on how many votes there are. If like you guys would want, we can go back to multiple choice questions, and we can, you know, have one turn each again and see if we can accumulate more points, or if you guys don't want, we can just leave it as is. If it's a split, we just leave it to a point.
Now, if I understood you correctly, you said that our points are accumulated across rounds. So really, it would be in our best interest to get as many points as we possibly can, even if it means one of us winning or losing, right?
That is absolutely correct, Joshua. This would be actually an opportunity to accumulate more points if you want to be coming back into the game.
I would vote yes then.
Yeah, you said the option is multiple choice only.
We can go multiple choice, and well, we can see how it goes from there if you guys want another round of sparring, but there's only one more statement to be debated. So it's up to you guys if you want to choose that one last statement, or you know.
I like the
But
debate
anyways,
stuff. That's fun.
Yeah, debating stuff is fun.
Debated stuff. Okay, well, we can do another round of sparring if you want. The other one we got is poet and prophet. Who would want to go with it on it?
Go for it, Josh, if you want.
Okay, I'll go poet and prophet.
Okay. Despite challenging the Judeo-Christian tradition, Nietzsche could be understood to be a flipped prophet of God. Are you for or against this statement?
Oh, hold on. Let me think about this. Yeah, I'll go for.
You will go for? You want to
No.
defend this?
Yeah, it says flipped prophet of God. Yeah, let's go with that. I'll defend
like
this
upside
statement.
down.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
defend this statement.
Okay, I'll bring the dragon one last time. 1 second. All right, guys. I guess you guys wanted to like get some more points and like get, I guess you guys like. Oh, let's do
I
this.
don't know about that. Okay.
What do you want to say? This one, Joshua.
Oh, I'll say that his way of speaking aphoristically with bold statements that have a very, very powerful impact is very, very much like the prophet archetype.
That's interesting. Well, but would you say that he was just able to approach all of these and get to it through logic and reason? That's nothing to do with divine revelation, really. You could just like understand nature of humans and actually kind of just like figure out what was going to happen from there, according to the consequences of what was happening at this time. Wouldn't you say that?
Well, I would say that sort of anybody that's going to be able to speak to a large amount of people in our day and age now is not going to be able to depend on they heard it from God. And so the definition of prophet's going to change over time to where originally it would have been heard it from God because that's what the Israelites took as valid. But now in our day and age, a prophet's going to maybe look a bit different.
Interesting. Okay. And well, I want to focus on a very interesting word that it's in here. Why do you agree with the word being flipped upside down? So if he's a prophet of God, okay, I mean, like, is he just a prophet of God, or why add that flipped? You agree with that?
Well, it wasn't specifically defined on what dimension flipped is, and so I would define that dimension in just that generally prophets are arguing for Christianity, or sorry, for Judaism. They'd be arguing for the Abrahamic religion versus he was arguing against it. So along that axis, I would say it was flipped.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, um, how about this? Well, you know, actually, you know what? That was a pretty good argument. I cannot really go too much against that. You actually got like, cut my tongue on that one. That you really slayed me on that one. So like, I'm gonna give it to you. You know, um, I guess I'm getting tired. I'm getting old, but maybe next time I'll get you, Joshua. It's not gonna be the last time, right? Oh my, oh my, oh my. I guess the dragon really got a bit of beating on that one. He should have prepared better for that one, for sure. But anyways, what would you rate him, Scott?
5.
All right, and what about you, Joshua? What would you rate yourself?
I'd go 5 on that one.
All right, all right, all right. I guess we got to one last sparring, and then, Scott, you have heard all of the arguments that are being argued for and against. Which one would you like to go for and repeat with your own unique take on the argument?
Remind me of the first one, the hammer philosophy. I remember that one was
Hammer
really long.
philosophy.
Yeah.
The hammer philosophy says the consequences of Nietzsche's philosophizing with a hammer and the insights into phenomenology, philosophy, and psychology, most particularly the statement God is dead, make Nietzsche an antichrist, even though his insights are proving to be more Christian than not.
Okay. I'll try to argue in favor that makes him the Antichrist.
Okay, perfect. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna call the dragon one more time.
Okay. Love this character.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. What you? Let's see what you got, Scott. Okay. So I guess you're arguing for Nietzsche being the Antichrist, eh?
Yeah, I mean, he basically says that because all of this tradition is God, and maybe if the Christian tradition is, primary, he's saying it's gone, so therefore he's essentially advocating that, we should stop doing this thing. It's already happened. We should just, ignore and move on and listen to me.
Yeah, I like that position. But guess what? How about this? If you don't really have to, understand it from like a religious point of view, like you could say as well that, he was really trying to liberate us from the shackles of having to understand everything between these like dynamic of oppressor and oppressed. Like we could be like, like if I want to explore my sexuality, for example, like I could just like explore it and then just like be free to do the free to live the consequences of my actions, and then understand exactly to the bottom exactly why that sexuality is for. Why should that be regarded as an anti-Christ or anti-Christian position?
So I apologize. The music's kind of drowning out your voice.
Oh, I really apologize for that. Actually,
I think you asked me if people explore their sexuality, how does that make him the Antichrist?
sorry. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like I think that his philosophy actually empowered us to liberate ourselves from the shackles of religion, of an oppressor-oppressed dynamic in which we are being told what to think and what to do, rather than us exploring and discovering what is actually the truth. So instead of us having to be afraid of anything, we can just go ahead and try and just live the consequences of our actions and then figure it out for ourselves. Why should that be regarded as anti-Christian?
Well, it sounds like you said, that just kind of is a free-for-all, and I don't think that is what Christianity teaches, is like a free-for-all. There's more grounded, ideas, and there's wisdom in the text, and there's these great stories that people pay attention to, and they have paid attention to for a long time, and they understand them as lessons that matter. And so as soon as you say, well, forget all those lessons, let's just do whatever we want, I think that's why that could be considered the Antichrist, because he's yeah, I think that's my answer.
Yeah, that's a very good, very, very interesting way to put it. But I just think that sometimes maybe we can just think like, well, he's not the Antichrist. Maybe he's just misunderstood, and he actually has given us a lot of insight into like the deep reality of human psychology. Wouldn't you say so?
Sure, why not? But that's still psychology is a scientific, it can be a secular field, and it kind of separates itself from theology. And so if he's giving insight into something that is independent of theology, then maybe that's an anti-Christian behavior.
Very good, very good. All right, Scott. I think you got me on that one. So I'll leave you guys with that one. But next time, I won't be so easy, I'll keep on sharpening my sword and my tongue, and I'll get you guys back next time. All right, I'm back, guys. All right. Very good. Scott, sorry, Joshua, what would you rate Scott, first of all?
Definitely a 5. Every one of those answers was the answer that just felt like it. Yeah, got to the right issue and correctly addressed it and was articulated well. Yeah.
Excellent. And what about you, Scott? What would you rate yourself?
5. Felt good.
5. Very good, folks. Okay, and with that, we got to the end of the game. That was amazing. Now, the current King of PA will be named here, which right now, according to the score, will be Joshua. But then this will be, at least for now, until the next time the crown gets battled for again, and we'll continue to tally up the points in the leaderboard. Whoever continues to have the biggest amount of points by the end of the season will claim the crown as the King of PA. And so, folks, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for putting your faith in this project. Sorry for all of the hiccups and mishaps of the whole thing that we had to go along. It's going to be a work in progress. Hopefully, I'll figure it out as we go. But thank you so much for all your support and all your help, and I guess we'll see you guys in the next game.
Sounds good. That was fun.
That was awesome, dude.